What's up? It's Jan back at it again with another nerdy bookish video. This is gonna be my June wrap up. So I'm very well aware that it's mid-July and I'm just now filming this. So we're gonna make this as quick as possible because let it go, Jan. No one cares at this point what you read in June, but we're gonna put this out anyway because if I don't document what I think about books, it makes it a lot harder at the end of the year when I'm trying to think about my thoughts about books and I'll never remember what I actually thought about them. Sometimes I rewatch some of these clips. Okay, so really this is for me, but you know, if y'all enjoy it too, I'm here for it. It's literally 10 p.m. right now. I just got back from grocery shopping with my mom. I'm freaking exhausted. And so I'm literally in a big Harley Davidson thrifted t-shirt, low-key, high-key, don't even have pants on right now, but we're filming, okay? Also try to make this as quick as possible because the AC cannot be turned on while I'm filming because it's so freaking loud, and I might be a puddle by the end of this video if I don't make this quick. As always, I'm gonna do it my usual way. I've been doing it for about 1.5 years now. I do my wrap-ups in the reread, rewrite, burn tag format. So basically I have all my books that I read in June on little slips of paper in this handy dandy stitch mug, and then I pull 3 at a time, and it's basically Fuck, Marry, Kill, but make it bookish, all right? It's just more fun for me this way, and I love that it's like my thing on my channel. You know how everyone has like their TBR games and their like one original thing? This is my one original thing, so I'm pretty proud of it. And it was a complete accident, so love that for me. I always start my wrap-ups with a recap of some stats from last month. So in June, I read 15 books total. I managed to squeeze in a poetry book at the very end of the month. I like reading at least 15 books a month because 15 is 5 full rounds of reread, rewrite, burn. It's just nice and well-rounded. I almost said even, but 15 is an odd number. Okay, moving on. Number of pages I did not calculate, but I did keep track the whole time. Okay, it's there. I did fairly well with sticking to my 100 pages a day. There were a couple slip-ups, 1, 2, 3, 7 days where I didn't read 100 pages, not consecutive days, but some days I read like 400, almost 300. Yeah, so it all evens out, okay? Number of Chicago appearances, only 3. I'm thinking of not keeping track of Chicago appearances anymore just because, like, we get it, Jan. It haunts you, you know? We'll see. I still see it everywhere. I see flesh in every book now, though. Even if I keep track of it, like, it's literally gonna be every single book, so there's no point. I don't know. I hate Chicago, hate the city, hate the anxiety it gives me. I grew up like 30 minutes from Chicago, and then ever since I've grown a hatred for it. I see it everywhere in shows, books, movies, so that's why I keep track of it, okay? Number of BIPOC authors, 6 out of 15, so that's all right. It's less than half. That's not the best. It is what it is. Best book of the month, I'm gonna grab them as I go. Hopefully I don't accidentally flash you. Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco was my best book of the month. I gave this 5 whole stars. I loved my tabbing system for it. I always try to do, there we go. It's all different shades of purple. It's really cute, and I worked really hard with like personalizing this too, like annotating wise, and then I doodled a little bit throughout too. I want to be better about like making my books truly mine when I'm annotating. Inspired by Lachlan from Locke's Library and Hannah from Hannah's Recent Reads. I just love how they annotate and like truly just immerse themselves in their annotations and stuff. I feel hair everywhere. I haven't vacuumed this rug in a while, so I keep thinking bugs are crawling all over me. Anyway, 5 freaking stars. I loved the world building and the characters and everything about this, and I want to get to the sequel very, very soon before the end of July. The 3rd one comes out soon. So happy that I finally got to this because I've been meaning to get through all of Carrie Maniscalco's books since last January when I read Stalking Jack the Ripper. I'm glad I finally got to this one. It was just so good. It's a typical YA fantasy where the sister goes missing and then there are all these paranormal creatures, but like the paranormal creatures are these like very attractive demons, and then there are also other paranormal creatures that might be a spoiler, so I'm not even gonna say what they are, but there's like a whole bunch of them thrown in. I love fantasy worlds like that where it's not just witches or just vampires, you know, it's like everything all in one. And it takes place in 1800s Sicily, so there's a lot of like the Italian language in here. The writing's very atmospheric. It's a super quick read. The characters' banter and dialogue and everything are just so good. I laughed out loud a bunch of times. I squealed a bunch of times. I honestly forgot a lot about it already, but I still think I'm gonna make this one of my top 10 of 2022, unless the sequel tops it, which I heard is a very strong, large big possibility because I heard the sequel is much better. So one of these is going to be on my top 10 of 2022. The only reason I'm like forgetting a lot of it is because like I know I had a good time reading experience wise, but I read it so quickly that I'm like blanking. Anyway, I said I would make this quick. Rambles on for 10 years. Jesus Christ. Worst book of the month, The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. So I got this from the library. I started it the day it came out, so I think it was like June 27th. It was during Sun's Out Books Out, so I think it was June 27th. And I read it in like 2 or 3 days. It was so disappointing. I had a feeling too. As soon as I saw the cover reveal and the title, I was like, really, Riley Sager? Riley Sager made that basic ass combination of title and cover. I was like, I hope to all the gods that he did something original, okay? He really tried to do something original, but it's just that it was so similar to other books I've read that I just couldn't see it as its own work. Like I kept comparing it to The Woman in the Window, to some other things that I don't want to spoil, but I'll leave all my vlogs to all these books down below. I did still give it 3 stars because I gave it the benefit of the doubt that if I didn't read books similarly, I might have enjoyed it more. I might have been more shook. I just love Riley Sager so much and like his personality in general. It should be 2 stars, but because I love the author so much and because he did the usual Riley Sager twist after twist after twist thing that I really like about his writing, we're gonna settle for a low 3. I read it for Sun's Out Books Out, which is this readathon hosted by Liv from Liv's Library and a bunch of other hosts. And I'll link that vlog down below as well. And it was a fun time reading it on release day and seeing other people's early thoughts on it, but it's my least favorite Riley Sager book for sure. Books left on my TBR, 7 out of 17, so I read 10. I hit double digits for my TBR, y'all. 2 months in a row. Love that for me. I did not read a classic. Buzzword-a-thon. So the buzzword for this month was the word all, and I read, do I own it? Yeah, I do. Hold on, crap. And I read All These Bodies by Kendare Blake. I gave it 3 stars because I had a good time reading it. I base a lot of my star ratings on enjoyment, as y'all would notice if you've been here a while, but objectively this is probably lower because it was so anticlimactic and it steers you in one direction that I personally was so excited for, and then it just let me down. This is about a serial killer in the Midwest. There's this girl who got arrested for being a suspect and she knows things, but she won't tell anyone besides this one person who's our main narrator. Michael, I believe his name is, and he is the sheriff's son or something, or the main investigator's son, I don't remember. But apparently this is based on true crime, so that made me justify 3 stars as well, because that's pretty cool. I love when there are fictional books based on true crime. Again, I enjoyed my time reading it because it was super quick and it kept my attention until the end, but I just wish the end was better. I did read a book over 500 pages, and that was Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. Yep, she's a chonker. And I wish I had my red tabs when I was reading this because I could have matched them better. But I tabbed a shit ton. I gave this book 4 stars. It took me a lot shorter of a time period than I thought it would take me. I read this for Sapphic-a-thon. I'll link my vlog down below. I wasn't expecting it to be scary like some people were because it is classified as horror or whatever, but you know how gothic novels are known for being like slow and very atmospheric? That's exactly what this is, and it deals with 2 timelines about this boarding school that had murders in whatever time period it was, and then 100 years later there are these celebrities reenacting the murders at the same school. The school shut down and they're like reopening it or something like that, I don't know, but we're following a bunch of different characters in 2 different timelines. It didn't get too confusing. Some parts yes, but for the most part I was able to follow, and there were like cute little illustrations all throughout, and it was super fun annotating this huge chonker. But again, the ending was very anticlimactic. I didn't feel satisfied by the ending is what I'm trying to say. I also do think it could be shorter. I love the font, I will say that. I love the font. And then I try to read 1 nonfiction per month, and I've been succeeding all year so far, and my nonfiction pick of June was My Body by Emily Ratajkowski. I gave this one 4 stars. I thought I was gonna give it 5 stars like right off the bat because I thought it was gonna talk a lot less about like her fame part of life and more about her vulnerable like body image parts of her life, but it was pretty heavy on the fame talk and like her journey becoming a model and whatever else. The freaking font is humongous, so this went really quickly. I learned that Robin Thicke is an asshole, so if you're a fan, keep that in mind. It did have a few good like feminist-centric quotes and self-image type of quotes, and there are a lot of trigger warnings like sexual assault and rape and things like that, so please keep that in mind before you go into this. And that was the last of my stats. So let us start with this wrap up. I've already been filming for 16 minutes. This is great. I need to grab them as I go, Jan. Ow, I just almost broke a nail. BRB. Okay, so our first round is Confessions by Kane Minato. I totally forgot I read this in June. This was a carryover from May, so it feels so long ago. We have Learn My Lesson by Katie Robert and Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. I think I would, okay, I think I got it. I would reread Confessions now that I know the brilliance of this author and the way the perspectives are laid out and how the story ends. I would love to reread it and see what I missed and how things got there. This took me forever to read because I was super thrown off by the long ass chapters, but trust me when I say it's worth it, because once you piece everything together and figure out why the author chose to do certain things, it's a great book. I gave it 4 stars as opposed to 5 just because it took me so long to get into, but now that I know how it ends, if I do eventually reread it, I'm sure this will be a 5-star experience for me. But basically this is about a teacher who knows that 2 of her students murdered her daughter, and so she spends the whole book getting revenge on them, but like in a twisty way. Again, this is one of those authors that gives you twist after twist after twist and steers you in one direction but takes a complete turn in just a few pages at a time. It's great, and I'm glad Renee got this for me last year and that I finally picked it up because of Books and Lala's book club last month. Or no, it was in May. It's really good and it gets fucked up in several parts, but it's a super short, quick book once you're in it. I was able to binge a lot of this at a time once I was fully immersed and knew what was going on. Well, not knew what was going on, because honestly, like, I didn't know what was going on until the very end, because like that's how twisty it is and that's how great the whole like outline of this book and how everything plays out. It's amazing. I would rewrite Her Body and Other Parties. I would take out all the graphic pregnancy scenes because y'all know how I feel about that. But this is a story collection by Carmen Maria Machado, a whole queen when it comes to literary feminist writing. I'll link all these vlogs down below, like I said, where I talk about each story in depth and the analyses and stuff. I gave Her Body and Other Parties 4 stars. Oh, this was the month that I gave a shit ton of 4 stars to. Did I do this already? My June wrap up. Why does it feel like I already filmed this? Am I losing my fucking mind? Hold on. In May, did I give a bunch of 4 stars too? Okay. I just got mad deja vu because in May I gave a shit ton of 4 stars as well. Same with June, so holy shit. I was like, did I really just waste 20 minutes of my time? Holy crap. Okay. Anyway, I would burn Learn My Lesson by Katie Robert. I preferred Desperate Measures to this one. This one is a Disney retelling of Hercules and it's polyamorous. I just wasn't into this one as much as Desperate Measures. I'm currently reading the 3rd one and I heard this one's a lot more similar to Desperate Measures than this one was. So it wasn't just me that felt like this was a different type of writing style. I don't know. I would burn this one. I mean, I own the rest of the series now. Thank you to everyone who bought me them for my birthday haul coming soon, I promise. All these books behind me, that's my birthday haul. So don't you worry, but I am very grateful for every single one of you who bought me anything or wished me a happy birthday. Anyway, I would burn this, but I'm loving this series and I will continue to the end. Moving on to the next 3. God, every time I say I'm gonna make this quick, I always end up talking for years. All right, we have The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I don't know how I feel about that one. Plain Bad Heroines and Boy Parts. So The House Across the Lake, I would burn. Just rewind for my thoughts on that one. I would rewrite this to make this shorter, easy peasy lemon squeezy, and then I would reread Boy Parts because I feel like this is one of those where you can't just read it once and get everything. There's so many fucked up things happening randomly that it's like, what? Like, I've reread pages of this because I was like, did that actually happen? Like, I'm confused. So I feel like I missed a lot of this the first time around and I had a good time reading this, but I gave this one 4 stars. I really like the writing style. Kind of, I do see how it's compared to Bunny. Obviously, I like Bunny a lot more, but I did like our main character and her snarkiness and her overall unlikability. Is that a word? Unlikable? She's an unlikable character. character, and she gets into all these shenanigans. She's a photographer for like provocative male photos, hence boy parts. Y'all know how I feel about messed up, like lost 20-something-year-olds trying to navigate life and find themselves and, you know, go through all this shit. I was kind of disappointed by this because I was expecting more acts of desperation by Megan Nolan. So I don't know, that was one of my top 10 books of 2021, and I cried several times during that book. So if y'all want a good tearjerker, a relatable tearjerker for toxic relationships and just heartbreak and finding yourself and feeling vulnerable and everything, Acts of Desperation by Megan Nolan. That's what I thought I was gonna get out of this. But this one was more like silly, goofy, being reckless and impulsive through life. But I would reread it for sure. Next three, we have Please Don't Go Before I Get Better, which is a poetry collection I checked out by Madison Kuhn, I think is her last name. I'm the Ghost in Your House by, oh, I forgot the author's name, but I checked this one out from the library as well. It was a YA about this invisible girl and her mom. These are all 3 library books. And then there's Here For It by R. Eric Thomas. Okay, so right off the bat, I would reread Please Don't Go Before I Get Better. I just picked this up on a whim. This is the second to last book I finished in June. I just wanted to hit my 15 book goal, so I checked out a bunch of poetry books from the library, and this is one of them, and I've never heard of this author. I opened randomly to a page and I was like, yep, this will hit. So I read it and it was 5 motherfucking stars. I need a physical copy of it. I should have bought it today. It was Prime Day. Oh well. But yeah, that book is going on my favorite shelf. I just uploaded the vlog yesterday of me reading it and like isolating some of the poems and what it meant to me. I got a bunch of comments and DMs saying that they bought or read the book because of me, like as soon as they saw my vlog, so love to see it. But yeah, would definitely reread that book. Oof, this is so bad. I didn't think about it, I'm sorry. Here For It is a memoir, is R. Eric Thomas's memoir. I obviously wouldn't burn it because I gave it 5 full stars and it's a memoir. I wouldn't, like, you know, that's just rude. But rewriting it is also rude. I don't know how I would rewrite this because it's his life. Like, what? Why did I do this to myself? Make it longer. Let's cheat a little, okay? I could read about R. Eric Thomas's life for more pages than I did. I listened to it on audio as well as followed along with the physical book, and I loved it. It was so much fun. He made me cackle and almost cry. If you didn't know, R. Eric Thomas is a Black, gay, religious man in America, and he talks about that and how he navigates his way through all the, you know, societal norms and all the judgmental people in his life, just getting through all that with all 3 of those characteristics, and I just loved it. It was beautiful. I buddy read it with Jesse. It was a fun time. We read it for Queer Blackathon, and I'll have that vlog, of course, down below. But yeah, that's me cheating and saying I would make this memoir longer, but like I obviously wouldn't, because like, I would go up to R. Eric Thomas and be like, hey, rewrite this, make it longer. I hate my life. And then I would burn I Am the Ghost in Your House. I gave this one 4 stars, but I wouldn't reread it. It was a good time. It was super quick, and it talked a lot about society and how people perceive you and how you perceive yourself. The author did a good job creating these characters and how they navigate through life. Like, the girl and her mother are invisible. It's also a sapphic book, so you think that this girl is trying to find this girl that she fell in love with, because they stay at random people's houses, they take the train everywhere to all these different cities. There are these like vignettes that are in between full chapters talking about her and her mother's life, like a city they've been to and how that moment in time connects to what's happening in present day. It's kind of like you're following this girl and then something triggers a flashback and then the author gives you that flashback. Does that make sense? So yeah, it's cool seeing all the restrictions that they had being invisible and what they can get away with by being invisible, who they expose themselves to, and things like that. So it was really interesting to read and it was super fun, but I would burn it because I'm not gonna read it again. And it was just a fun time that I'm gonna move on from. I say I've read it. It was a new release this year. I might think about it every now and then, but it's not like a new favorite or anything remotely close. That's that on that. Moving on to the next 3. We have All These Bodies, and then we have My Body. We have Her Body in other parties, I swear to God. Or did I do that one already? I think I did that one already. Oh, and then we have Kingdom of the Wicked. Cool, they're all right here. Love that for me. Fuck. Okay, so I would burn all these bodies because of all the things I already said about it. See, this is another one. Oh, Here For It was also a nonfiction that I read last month. So I read 2 nonfiction books. Love that for me. Is poetry considered nonfiction to y'all? Because like it's based on personal experience and it's in the nonfiction section at the library. This is another nonfiction that I wouldn't necessarily reread in comparison to Kingdom of the Wicked, but like rewriting it, I don't know. I guess I would rewrite it to meet my expectations of it being more about her vulnerability and her body image as a model and everything, as opposed to like her rise to fame and all her different like things that she was featured in. Like I said in a previous vlog or something, I keep picking books up about famous people, even like fictional books, and I'm just like, I keep realizing that I don't enjoy my time whenever I do read those books. But yep, this is a rewrite because this has to be a reread. Are you kidding? I absolutely loved it. Already talked about it. We're gonna move on. I think we're on our last 3. Beautiful. Okay. Oh, I have to get up for these, don't I? Yep. Where are you? I'm so sorry. So we have The Bennett Women by Eden Apaya Kubi. This was my full moon book club pick for June, and my guest was Chanel from Chanel Time, and it was a super fun live show. We got off track a lot, so honestly, if you want to watch that back and you didn't read the book, we barely talk about the book. I mean, I gave it 5 stars though. And then we have The Beautiful by Renee Audier, and then we have Coven by Jennifer Dugan, graphic novel that I got a NetGalley arc for. Okay, I would reread this because like I said, I gave it 5 stars, and there are so many layers to this story. There are so many characters, diverse characters at that. We have a trans woman, we have a black woman, and we have a Filipino woman, and they're all going to the same university, and there's this like house called the Bennett House. Our main character is EJ, the black woman, and we follow her start this relationship. Might be a spoiler if I say who the relationship is with, but yeah, we follow all these different perspectives. They all have their own storyline when it comes to dealing with, you know, how people see them, the stigmas of, you know, being trans, being a black woman in a STEM field. Also trigger warnings for eating disorders, transphobia. Look up trigger warnings if you're concerned about any of those. You get a bunch of points of view, again, with these 20-somethings figuring out life and falling in love and going through heartbreaks, but also trying to make it through the injustices of the academic world, society in general. And then there's also like this celebrity kid who comes into the school, and he has his own storyline, and it's really good. It's a modern Pride and Prejudice retelling. I haven't read Pride and Prejudice, but I kind of want to read it now after this. I have no idea if they're anything alike. I think one person on my live show said that the author did a good job with modernizing the tale, so I would rewrite The Beautiful. How? I don't know. This was my 2nd time reading it. I read it through audio the 2nd time because I really want to finish the series. The 4th one comes out, I think, early next year. I believe Valentine's Day next year is when the 4th one comes out, which is good because I have time and I need the time to read the 2nd and 3rd, which I own and have owned for a while. This is set in New Orleans, and it has a bunch of paranormal creatures once again. Like I said, I love when books do that, so I didn't mind rereading it, and I just listened to the audiobook, love the audiobook. I think everyone knows that there's a vampire in this, right? The vampire chapters, it has such a good, creepy, literally vampiric voice. Like you'd hear the vampire seeping through that audiobook. It's a very atmospheric book. There's a lot of talk about food too, if you're into that. And honestly, still don't really remember the objective of this, but at this point I'm just gonna continue the series, move on, and I heard the sequel is better anyway. It's called The Damned. I'm glad I reread it just to like have the info floating around in there. I did read a full spoilery summary to try to ring some bells, you know, but my brain just, I guess, doesn't really care enough. But I gave this 4 stars both times that I read it. It's super atmospheric. I don't know how I would rewrite it though. I really don't. Can we just like trust me on this one? I feel like there were some lulls throughout the book, so maybe edit those somehow, because there were some parts that I was just like kind of bored. The action scenes were very brief, so let's leave it at that. Okay, and then Coven I would burn because it's a graphic novel. I feel like it was a pretty simple story. This witch is forced by her parents to move to a different state to be closer to their coven, and then there's this book that goes missing and it has like evil powers. The art style was really fucking cute. I did enjoy the story. There was some drama in there. It was sapphic. I read it for Strange-a-thon. I'll have, again, that vlog linked down below. I would burn it because it wasn't anything special, in my opinion. I mean, I enjoyed the witchy vibes and the sapphic relationship. I don't know, it was very angsty because, you know, you could imagine a teen being forced by her parents to move, you know, move away from her friends and her life and everything. So there was a lot of angst in it. But again, the art style was really good, so I gave that one 3 stars. That is all. I'm glad I was able to get this done within like half an hour. If you made it to the end of this video, I'm just gonna pick a random one. Put the octopus emoji in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope y'all had a great day. Stay safe and stay positive always, and I'll see y'all in my next one. Bye!